All right, everybody, Samori Benjamin here with a very special guest, New York Yankees hitting coach and a homeboy, a New Yorker, New York native, Mr. James Rowson. All right, a Mount Vernon native and played high school ball in the Bronx and all that. James, thank you for joining me, man. And it's amazing having you here with the Yankees. And I got the chance to meet you for the first time about 3 years ago with the Marlins when you were with them. And I know, like I said, you grew up here in the city of Mount Vernon. So how did you come up just in Mount Vernon playing baseball, living life as a youngster?
You know what? It was like a regular kid in Mount Vernon. I grew up, I played in Mount Vernon Little League. So I started at Brush Park and I played with the teams there, and then I just gradually loved the game. So I just kept playing and, kept advancing. And obviously I went to high school. I went to Mount St. Michael in the Bronx, went to high school, played well there. I got a chance to get drafted. So I got drafted in 94.
Yes.
And I signed with the Mariners in 94 and started the baseball career. So, it's been a whirlwind. And then, 2024, here we are, Yankee Stadium.
Right, okay, definitely. I know, it's an amazing story. And now first, how did you get into baseball growing up in Mount Vernon?
You know what? My dad. So I started off my dad. I played every sport as a kid. So I actually, when I was a little kid, it was like, I see a lot of pictures where I had like a soccer ball in my hand. So if it was a ball, I was going to play it, right, as a kid. And then I started playing baseball, and it was just, I loved the game. I loved the challenge. It was just something I took to. I love hitting. So I think just starting that way. And then when I was coming up as a kid in New York, the players in New York were good. The Yankees, the Mets, that was the boom of just a lot of players. I saw Dave Winfield, Ricky Henderson in New York, and then with the Mets across town, it was Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden. So it was a good time to be a kid and playing baseball in New York.
Yeah, and I came up around that time. You were a few years older than me, but definitely I remember those times. And now, were you a Mets fan or a Yankees fan as a kid?
You know what? I like players. Right. So it was I look at the players and I always like to play. Like every kid wanted to hit like Darryl Strawberry at that time, right? And every kid wanted to run and play the outfield like Ricky Henderson. So both teams have players that you kind of admired and you watched growing up. So I kind of just followed the players as a kid.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And a lot of Afro-American players at that time in the game and in New York City. And like you said, Dave Winfield, Ricky, all those guys, the Mets had those stars. They were winning the championships then. Yep. And for black kids, it was very easy to look and see stars who were identifiable to them. So, and now, even in the 90s when you first got drafted and all that, a lot of black American players. Now there's not a whole lot which is interesting. Just from that aspect of it, what do you think happened?
You hope it would come back. I think, there's the boom. Like I said, when I was coming up, I could look at the TV and see players that look like me, and I wanted to be those guys. Obviously, there's something that you could do. And then I think what happened, there was a boom in the 90s where everybody wanted to be like Mike, and you saw everybody go to basketball because you saw Michael Jordan and guys that look like you, what you can do. So hopefully we'll get to the point in the game now with some, younger rising black stars and guys coming in the game. And what they've done, I think, with the Players Alliance is really cool. How they've kind of established an alliance to help bring, some more young black kids into playing the game, because we definitely have the athleticism and the talent. It's just a matter of wanting to go out and play.
No doubt about it. Now, what you said is interesting because I grew up in Harlem, and you grew up in Mount Vernon and all that, and so myself being a big baseball fan, we had Harlem Little League, and it was very big at that time. It's really a fraction now what it used to be, but even then, outside of the league, a lot of my black peers I noticed, in school, were not into baseball. So I saw the interest in the black youth going down then. Like you said, that was definitely interesting. But I'm interested. Were you a fan of basketball? Knicks right now are doing well. Were you a Knicks fan though?
All New York sports.
Okay,
so I love all New York sports. Knicks fan, Giants fan, and football. So all New York sports I love.
Same here. I'm a fan of both of those teams. So now, as a Knicks, what do you remember about the Knicks growing up, being a fan of theirs?
Man, it was Patrick Ewing and John Starks and that group, man. We had Kenny, no, I'm talking Skywalker. Kenny
Skywalker,
doing the dunks and doing
so. Dunk contest.
Had Charles Oakley back then. So the Knicks was something to be a part of, man.
Gerald Wilkins.
Oh man,
I remember being excited all that. Dominic's brother playing for the Knicks. I was excited and all that. Yeah. Rick Pitino, he's back to St. John's and all that. So right now they're doing really well. They got a chance to make the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000. I mean, if that's something that you still are able to get excited about?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I keep an eye on it, man. You know, all these years and just waiting and waiting. So it's really cool to see the last couple of years that the Knicks have been competitive and like kind of back on that mountain, because there's no better city to play in or to win in than New York. It doesn't matter what sport.
Right.
This is the state you want to win in. It's the place you want to win.
Right, and of course, you know, when you just said you were drafted in '94. Knicks were in the finals in '94, playing the Rockets. So that was your first time seeing them in the finals. My first time seeing them in the finals. So I mean, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But yes, now Mount Vernon, Mount St. Michael, high school baseball. How was it playing baseball in the Catholic League and at Mount Vernon and playing against other schools in New York City baseball?
It was always good. I always had good coaches, good foundation. You know, I was blessed, man. I was fortunate in the way in which I came up, so I wouldn't trade that for the world. I learned a lot of good lessons. It didn't matter where it was. I think it's all about the people you're surrounded by, and if you're fortunate to get a good group of people to surround you early enough in your career and in life, I think you have an opportunity to succeed moving forward. So I've been in a good spot.
That's awesome. And you know, like I told you before, I had a few friends who went to Mount Vernon. I went to Mount St. Michael. So my best friend in life, my first friend, met him in Harlem. He moved to the Bronx, to that area, and moved to Mount Vernon later. And him and his cousin went to Mount St. Michael, and all their friends, so they would always tell me about it. And then, of course, they played football too, so that was a big deal. And the Turkey Bowl against Cardinal Hayes. I mean, so how was your experience playing football there too?
It was great. It was great. I didn't say I was a better football player than I was a baseball player coming up. So I mean, football was kind of what molded me. I would never change that. I think it creates an element of being tough, an element of learning how to play with injury, learning how to fight through tough times. I mean, that's a tough sport. You got to be ready for it, but I think it also gets you ready for later on in life. So football is definitely probably my number one sport, and probably taught me the most lessons of any sport I played.
Right, and so definitely, you know, being a Giant fan, you saw them win in '86 and now in the Super Bowl, so that was really cool. Now, okay, so you get drafted out of high school, so that had to be huge. So I guess at that point, the football, even though you said that was your best sport, you get drafted. You can't get drafted out of high school in football. Baseball, you do, like you said, Seattle Mariners '94. So, how do you remember that going down and what that was like?
You know, it was awesome, man, because it's a kid's dream. Like, you know, opportunity to play professional sports. And I remember I got drafted by the Mariners, and I actually came to Yankee Stadium after I got drafted to hit with the team. And Lou Piniella was actually managing the Mariners at that time, former Yankee Lou Piniella. So, like, that was like a dream of mine to get there, to get to professional baseball. Obviously didn't get there as a big leaguer, but I think the sport itself and like learning to hit and learning to go through all the tough times, it just made me want to figure out hitting. So when I couldn't do it from a player standpoint, I wanted to continue to figure it out, and that's when I got into the game from the coaching side.
Yeah, now '94 when you got drafted, that was a strike year also. So I mean, so I guess baseball kind of stopped. And I know that was 30 years ago now. Do you remember, like, as an early young minor leaguer, your first couple of months in the minors, what happened, what you were doing after the strike came?
No, because I wasn't at a point in my career. I was still young, just got drafted, so we were just playing games at the complex in Arizona, and weren't really aware of all the things that were going around us with that, which was good because at the time all I wanted to do was figure out how to play, so I didn't have to deal with any of the strike issues.
No doubt. Okay, cool. Now I remember you telling me about how you were in the system in Seattle, in the minor league system with Craig Griffey, Ken Griffey's brother, and all that. You told me about that. So now, okay, so now you spend time with the Mariners and then the Yankees in the minor league system, and then you get out of that and you begin coaching. And so, how did you get into coaching initially?
Well, when I started coaching, it was just a matter of I wasn't sure if I wanted to or not. And I started coaching at a small college, a small junior college in Florida, Tampa, as a matter of fact, and like. All of a sudden, just talking, hitting, helping players achieve, you know, their dreams and achieve their goals, it became as exciting to me as playing myself. So it was something I didn't know that I was going to do, but I did realize after I started doing it that I had a passion to want to continue to coach.
Right, you know, some people don't realize, but you spent a lot of time in the Yankees organization before you even got here.
Yes.
I know early in your career, you were the Yankees minor league hitting instructor, right?
Yep.
So how did that come about? And you did that for several years, so how was that experience for you?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I started my coaching career actually with the Angels in Arizona, with the Anaheim Angels at the time. And then I ended up, I played with the Yankees, and then after coaching through A-ball, I came back to the Yankees and started coaching in A-ball with the Yankees. So once I started that, I had great teachers. I had, Mark Newman, who was there, who passed away now, but he was one of my mentors with the Yankees. There was Gary Dimbo was there with the Yankees at the time. These were guys that helped mold me and helped me into my coaching career. And then I got an opportunity to become a hitting coordinator with the Yankees. So it kind of was like, this is where I really got my start into kind of like learning the full process. And, all of a sudden I end up here. But I couldn't thank those guys enough for my start and like being good teachers and being guys that help bring me in and help mold me to learn the shot.
You know what? Turn a little bit. I want to see your face. Yeah. So now I know that you ended up getting an opportunity with Chicago, right? Chicago Cubs, and 2012 you became the hitting coach for the Cubs for the first time, hitting coach in the major leagues. And then 2013 you were there as well. So how was that for you? Getting your first major league, I believe your first major league opportunity as a hitting coach at that time.
Yeah, it's like a player, I would say. You get overwhelmed to some extent early on. You're looking at it like, I'm not sure, how this is going to work. I mean, it's like your first call to the big league. So whether you're a coach or whether you're a player, it's still your first time in the major leagues. But again, I had good players around me. What's ironic is Anthony Rizzo, who I'm with now here, was with me at that time. So I was kind of going through my rookie bumps along with him at the same time. So it's kind of funny that we can get together here and kind of do it this many years later. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And then I know that you ended up coming back to the Yankees for a year or two as a minor league hitting instructor, and then you went with the Minnesota Twins. You were there for about 4 years, and you faced the Yankees as a coach 2 times in the playoffs in 2018 and 19. And the 2019 team, you all set the record for most home runs hit any season by a team. I believe 308 home runs that year. So how was it just being in Minnesota, that experience, and then coming here to the Bronx and facing the Yankees in the playoffs twice?
Great experience, great people. Always excited to come back home to New York, so that was always cool. But at that time, my goal was to beat the Yankees. So when you get to the postseason, I mean, it's a competitive nature to do it. But so that was really cool. My experience in Minnesota was great. The people were good. My family enjoyed it. So nothing but good times. And now it's a cool thing to be back in New York, to get an opportunity with my hometown team to try to go ahead and win and beat every other club. So it's definitely be special this year to get the opportunity to win the World Series.
Yes, and before the Yankees, you got a chance to team up with a hero of a lot of people here in New York and here in the building, Don Mattingly. That's when really when I first found out about you, because I was looking at the coaching staff and I saw you and I was like, wow, and amazing to be with Don Mattingly. He was the Marlins coach in Miami, and you were on his coaching staff for a few years, and I believe you became his bench coach for a while too. So what was that experience like, just playing with, being on the coaching staff under one of the legends of New York and Yankee baseball, Don Mattingly?
Again, I mean, Donnie's baseball card speaks for itself. I mean, you see a guy who's gone through the process and was a great hitter in this game and then went into coaching. And, one of the cool parts with coaching with Donnie was that, where I was in my career, he had done the same thing. He had went from being, a hitting coach to a bench coach. And that was what I was in Miami. I was a bench coach for him. So being the bench coach there was really good. You get to learn a lot from a guy who's been there, done that. Donnie's knowledge from a player and then also from the coaching standpoint was really helpful.
I got about 3 more for you. Thank you. So now, a great opportunity to come here, and I tell you, when I found out that you were the hitting coach this year, when I saw that you got the job, it came out of nowhere, and I was like, wow, it was great. Congratulations to you again.
Thank you.
And really happy to have you here. What was it like just when you found out that, after you interviewed and when you found out that you were going to be the one who would get the chance to be the hitting coach for the Yankee team?
I was excited about it, but at the same time, immediately motivated. Being a New Yorker, growing up here in New York, and knowing the importance of winning in this town, I want to be part of helping to bring that world championship back here to the Bronx. So I was excited, but at the same time, immediately ready to go to work, motivated to get the job done.
Right, and now, okay, so you have a lot of great hitters to work with here. Juan Soto came here. A lot of people were excited. Aaron Judge, of course, and Giancarlo Stanton. He's going to hit 500 home runs before his career, probably. Your old guy, Rizzo. So what's it like, just being a hitting coach, and as a hitting coach, what is your objective?
You know, these guys are talented. So the goal for me, the job is to put all these guys in a situation to succeed. I mean, they have the talent. These players are good. We're here to assist them and help them in any way we can. But at the end of the day, man, it's just getting them in the right situation to do what they do best, which is to play baseball.
Right. And just in terms of you know, being here in the Bronx, what's it like to be able to just be around your family and be around old friends, old high school, junior high school classmates and all that, teachers, and to be a part of the whole scene again? It
is. It's fun. It's fun. It's like a, you know, homecoming to some extent, because I don't live here year round now. But to come back during the season and see some familiar faces, friends and family and all that, it's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, they all want the same goal I want, which is to bring that championship back.
And last one for you, definitely.
Yep.
And, last one for you. You know, you're very young and you've been in the game for a long time. Do you ever, you know, if ever one day the opportunity came to you to become a manager, how do you think you could help a team and lead a team?
Yeah, you know what? I always feel like the goal is to dominate the job that you're in, right? Like, and I tell people that advice all the time. Whatever you're doing, dominate that. Don't worry about the next thing, because if opportunities are supposed to come, they'll come naturally. They'll come organically. So stay focused on the job you have. Dominate that job. Don't worry about the next one, and time will tell.
All right, so folks, James Rowson here again. All right, a Bronx boy, born and raised. Mount Vernon, all right, and went to high school at Mount St. Michael in the Bronx. James, thank you so much, and
thank you.
Once again, congrats, man, appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Samori, thanks, man.
All right, folks.
You got it.